Entrepreneur's Edge. We are three professionals who work with entrepreneurs in different ways. And our mission with Entrepreneur's Edge is to empower small business owners and set them up for success by sharing insider tips and tricks geared specifically for entrepreneurs. Our goal is to do these webinars monthly. In this webinar today, Alicia will share digital tools to increase the effectiveness of your website and show you how to use brand strategy tactics to make sure your website has got your back as a persuasive marketing machine. And I'm just going to let Tara in. So Alicia is a brand and marketing strategist, and since 2008 has worked with over 100 brands. She has a passion for working with entrepreneurs and engaging the small business community to help everyone's benefit from brand strategy. She is so excited to be here today with myself, Charlie Comparetto of J. Galt, and Shlomo Denberg of Sapphire Accounting. I'm a managing partner at J. Galt, which encompasses the business credit building finance suite, J. Galt Coastal Consulting Practice, as well as J. Galt Capital. J. Galt specializes in helping small and medium-sized businesses access and leverage capital on their EIN without using personal guarantees, which is a real problem for most mainstream business owners. I've worked in finance for over 30 years in the capital markets as a trader and broker in the institutional side, but is also a small business owner. But I am also a small business owner myself. Also with us today, straight from Brooklyn, New York, is Shlomo Denberg, a CPA and one of the owners of Sapphire Accounting. Sapphire Accounting offers fractional CFO and bookkeeping services designed to boost profitability for business owners so they can spend more time with loved ones. Shlomo and his business each had their own firms before starting Sapphire and decided to team up to offer more services to clients. They specialize in helping business owners gain a more thorough understanding of their financials and the decisions that those financials can help them make. We are so glad that you all joined us for this talk tonight. If you have any questions during our talk, please send a private message on Zoom and we'll do our best to get to them at the end of the talk or work them into our conversation. So without further ado, I'll let Alicia get things started.
Thanks, Charlie. That was amazing. So today I am going to talk about how to whip that lazy website of yours into shape. How are we going to make your website work for you? So in general, why this topic? Well, as entrepreneurs, absolutely, we wear way too many hats. To compete with more established companies, we often feel pressured to try to offer a full service experience long before we have the staff to support it. And your website can help pick up some of this slack so that you can offer a more seamless experience for your customers, even if there's only one of you or a small team. A strong website can help you focus on your business, and it can do this through having automations that do repeatable tasks for you. The functionality of the website can do tasks that you no longer have to do. It can have content, videos, photo, and text that anticipate the needs of your target audience and serve up the information they're looking for. And you could also have integrations between third-party tools that perform some of these things so that you don't have to. As a brand strategist, I like to say that your website can always be strong by a brand strategy foundation. This is because brand strategy helps you say the right thing at the right time in the right way to the right person. And when you do that, if you anticipate the needs of your website visitors and deliver what they need while they're on the website, that's what makes a website feel intuitive, because before they even realize they need the information, the website is giving it to them. And it will also paint the picture that you are going to be enjoyable to work with because it's easy and helpful and smooth. Branding also stretches marketing budgets. And the smaller you are as an entrepreneur or business, the more you need branding. It's because branding helps you have more targeted communications. That means there are fewer people that you need to resonate with. You get more qualified leads that are already warm because you're targeting the people who are more likely to need your product or service. You're going to have a better close rate because they're already interested. And your messaging is going to be more memorable because it's telling a story about you that's authentic, interesting, and matters to your target audience. This is actually why I'm launching a branding course at Q4 of this year that's going to deliver my full branding process for a fraction of the cost of hiring a consultant, because I firmly believe that oftentimes the businesses that can't afford brand strategy need it the most because they really need to stretch those marketing dollars. So without further ado, let's dig into it. man, the jobs your website could be doing if it wasn't so darn lazy. So each of these 8 individuals represents people who could be on your team, or you could hire as a professional. Or hey, maybe your website could do their job and you don't have to worry about outsourcing or hiring a new person. First off, a public relations assistant. Wouldn't it be nice if your website could tell your brand story, something that's interesting that the media is going to want to talk about? Your website can then field media inquiries, can deliver press releases on your blog. It could also have a database of logo files and other images so that if you launch a new product or strategy or service, and the media wants to be the first one on the scene, they can just go to your site, find the press release, get your logos, get your product, or your headshots, and have a story before everyone else. And also, it's good to give them like an elevator pitch or some basic information. What are some tools that are examples of this? So a great example, I think, is TaskRabbit. They actually have a press page. This is not uncommon for larger brands. They have contacts for you to get in touch. They have, like I said, logo files for you to download. And they have press releases and some basic information for anybody who wants to be a media partner to pick up and use. Some other features on your website that you could use to disseminate this information is obviously a blog. You could have an announcement bar at the top so that if there's a seasonal sale or you're closed for the holidays or something like that, you can make sure that people visiting your website have that information. Organic SEO can help you get found, so that that means having content on your website that is meaningful specifically to your topic and a structure that is in a way that Google will understand that you're an expert on certain topics. And then an about section that tells your unique story, why you started the business, why are you passionate about this, what makes you different from the competition. That's not only good for persuasive strategy, but it's also great stuff for someone who might want to write an article about you. And then lastly, a press kit. Another thing you can do is you can use this tool to get media mentions to build audience trust and then put brag logos on your website. I'm sure you've seen on a website, sometimes it's like a little dancing, marching row of like media. Maybe they got mentioned on NBC or Forbes magazine or something, and they're just marching in a line. Well, a great way to get these is to join this organization called Quoted. It's free. And you create a profile that talks about what you're an expert on. And then you can actually get email alerts when people in the media are looking for an expert on a particular article to do a quote, maybe a financial expert or something like that. And I did mean to say earlier on that I'm going to give you a lot of tools. So my hope today is that there are 1 or 2 of them that you think are going to have the biggest impact on your business, and you note them down and dig deeper on them. It's going to be a lot of stuff. So I hope you don't get overwhelmed, and I hope just at least 1 or 2 are the ones that you pick to move forward with.
Alicia, just to interrupt quickly until I understand, are all
Yeah.
these tools meant for everyone, or is more like you're going through a bunch, but really some of them we might only need 3 of them, some might need 5 of them, really depending on your business style, but everyone could use at least one?
Probably they will not all be relevant for everybody. This one Quoted, for example, is really good for people who need to assert themselves as thought leaders in their industry, kind of like you, Charlie, you and Shlomo. This would be great for you to get quoted, say, in Forbes Business Magazine or, Wall Street Journal or something like that. However, if you sell pens that have googly eyes on them, maybe you don't need, like some press mentions. Sort of depends on what it is that you do, I would think.
Fair.
Yeah. What's another job your website could be doing if it wasn't so lazy? It could be a retail store. A lot of times people like artisans or people who sell a product, they have a website that talks about it, and then they just have a farmer's market where they sell at, or they might just have a brick and mortar store, or maybe they even try to sell on Instagram, but they're not doing e-commerce on their website. So this is a huge opportunity to capture more sales. People love to shop online. Brand strategy will help you have an easy to navigate product catalog. If you take the time to understand the decision-making process of your target audience, you'll understand like how they see your products. Is it by use case? Is it by, budget? Is it by time of year? And then it's really important. I'm going to go through it in a little bit, some photography that is, you look at it in a certain way to replicate the shopping experience as if they were in person. And then your website can also be serving up discounts and sales to help warm up that lead, and hopefully they convert and make a purchase. So some examples of this are, it's great to replicate the in-store experience with photography. So Amazon does a pretty good job of this, but I have this example here from Smith Tea. I am a total tea snob and I love their shopping experience. And this one particular tea, Black Lavender, just had so many great photographs. Brand strategy will encourage you to dig deep, again, on the decision-making process of your customer. So for an example of tea, a lot of times people want to see what color it's going to be in the cup. They might want to...
They might. Yeah, if
right?
they play the way they're playing, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to be weak. And then they might want to be like, is this gift worthy?
Oh my God.
I don't know who's reacting, but I like it. So this is a zoom in of the pictures that they have on their product. So, you can see the quality and the flower petals, and you might be like, is this gift worthy? Like, okay, maybe number 6 and number 7 are gift worthy, but number 8 looks a little crazy. So maybe I should get that one. And even number 9 is an animated GIF, which is really next level in my opinion, to show they have like a silken tea bag to let the tea steep. Anyways, I think this is a great example of like, if you were in a store, these are all things you would want to know about it, right?
I also love how we got down the track of just tea now. When now
and
knows
another
about Alicia's
thing,
love.
if you notice, a lot of these pictures have like a clear, seamless white background. For example, 1, 6, and 7. I think 6 and 7 just have a piece of marble, and then there's a seamless white background behind it. An easy way to do this without being a professional photographer is to get a light box. So this is a tool. It's not like a technical one, but this is just on Amazon. Basically, there's so much light inside the box that it just blows out and it looks completely white, and you can take pictures, and then you don't have to worry about cutting it out or hiring a designer to do this. As you can see, this one's only $36. They're not all created equal, like look at the reviews, but this can be a great investment if you are a retail seller. Another really cool thing that makes me excited is you can do what's known as print on demand. So this is like, say you want to print t-shirts or sell t-shirts that have your brand logo or just like a cool design on them. Well, it's often really cost prohibitive because by the time you get to a price point that's affordable for you to make a profit off of, you have to buy a lot of t-shirts. Especially silk screening, each ink is a different color. However, with the advent of digital printing and this what's known as print on demand, you don't have to be responsible for that inventory. You don't have to worry about how many smalls should I order, how many extra larges. Are my clients like tall people? Do I need extra tall shirts? Basically, you upload your artwork and nothing happens until a customer clicks a button and gives money. Then a third-party entity, in this case, Printful, prints the item, drop ships it directly to the customer. You don't have to fulfill the order. You don't have to hold the inventory. And then Printful cuts you a check and you get to decide how much you want that check to be. So say the base price of the t-shirt is like $20 or something like that. It's not unheard of for a t-shirt to be $35. So every time someone buys a t-shirt, you're making $15 and you give Printful $20. And yeah, you're giving them a lot of money, but when you consider all of the back-end headache that you're eliminating, it's a pretty sweet deal. Printful, you can either have a store where you just have a button and you send the customer right to the Printful environment to do this. Or if you work with a developer, I know there's a couple on this call, to integrate it with your website, you can have it so that they're shopping on your website and they're fulfilling the order and they don't even realize that it's related to Printful. I've done this with Wix, and I know that they integrate with WordPress as well. I'm sure I feel like every time I look at it, there's even more and more integrations out there.
Sorry, Alicia, just 1 second. Sorry, Charles. I believe the chat's disabled in case someone's asking a good question. So if you could look into that while Alicia talks. Sorry, back to you. My bad.
Okay. Another pretty cool tool that your website could be doing to do some more work for you is to gamify savings. This is an example of an app called Wheelify for Shopify. I'm sure some of you have come across this before, where you click and it spins a wheel and you're like, ooh, how many savings am I going to get? And who knows if it really is random or if it always ends on 15%. But it's really engaging for people, and it's really hard to resist. So I'm sure there are a bunch of apps out there. This is just one that I found. And I know that they make them for WordPress and other website platforms. So what else could your website be doing if it wasn't just loafing about? It could be functioning as a cashier and inventory manager, especially in the retail environment. It should be selling items, but also tracking inventory. It could be reordering from vendors when your inventory from them gets low. And I wanted to share some tools. This is something called Fair Harbor. It integrates on top of a WordPress install and it just makes activity booking and management like super easy. As the company, you don't pay anything when somebody checks out with when someone checks out with Fair Harbor, all the costs are passed through to the customer as like a convenience fee or something like that. And this is an example here. Basically, you have the website that exists on its own, and then there's a modal that pops up, and they are in this like pop-up thing for the shopping experience. And this particular website, paradisecopters.com. I used to be their marketing director, and their website is not built on WordPress. So I think it might be Craft CMS. So Fair Harbor does integrate with other CMSs out there. Some other Shopify features are it will alert both you and the customer when your product is low in stock. So you can choose how many like items is actually considered low, and it sort of adds a little bit of urgency on the customer's end. So it's doing some marketing for you while it's also managing your inventory on your end. And you can also set it so that when this particular thing, if you are a reseller, when this particular thing gets below 10 items, send a purchase order to my vendor in, Arkansas or whatever to like ship more, and you don't even have to do it. It's pretty cool. All right. What else could the website be doing? Well, it could be helping out with some customer service and some customer support. Absolutely. You could have an FAQs section so that you anticipate their questions and answer them in advance. It could also answer common questions via a chatbot. So some examples for this are if you need ideas for FAQs, it's a great, in my opinion, idea to look at what people are complaining and complimenting your competitors about. So in reviews, you can see how many people found this useful. That means that there's something in this review that other people who are looking for information found really valuable. You can also look on Yelp to see what people are complaining about or giving feedback on. A lot of times it's not what the seller or the company thinks it is. So you can get some good nuggets in here. This is some great market research for anticipating your customers' needs and their decision-making process. Another way to anticipate their questions and optimize for SEO at the same time is this tool called Answer the Public, or another one called Also Asked. And basically what you do is you type in a phrase, and what it does is it tells you, okay, so people who searched for branding entrepreneurship also searched for these other things, which tells you that those are other topics that they're interested in. Maybe you have a blog article on those topics, or maybe you have a page, or maybe you discover something that you didn't even think of and you're like, oh, well, I actually do that. Maybe I should talk about it. A lot of them are like a subscription model, and they do charge. However, I think it's Also Asked allows you 2 search queries in a 24-hour period before they give you another one if you don't sign up. And then Answer the Public, I think, lets you have 1, or if you register for free with them, you get like 3 or something like that. But it can just be a great way to get ideas to flesh out your website or get ideas for more blog content. All right, let's get back to that lazy darn website. Man, it could also be doing some sales stuff for you. It could be helping you close sales. It could be providing reasons for people to believe your brand promise. And it can also be asking qualifying questions to make sure that your product is right for this person who's visiting your website. And a great way to, I talked about Yelp a little bit earlier, but this is also a great way to discover what delights customers. Like, what do people say that they are like over the moon about? Really interesting. So this is a review for the Pool Doctor. And he mentions that they show up early, and he has an idea of how long the people have worked with the company. That's reassuring to him. So if you have a company where people have, if you have a pool company where people have worked there for a long time, you should absolutely be bragging about that. And then he liked it that there were a bunch of people there at the same time. So if you're a business owner and you're like, well, I could send 2 people and it would take 4 days, or I could send 7 people and it would take 1 day. It's the same price for you potentially, because by the number of man hours it takes might be the same, but for some reason having a lot of people there and them working feverishly like blew him away. So this can be a sales point that you talk about on your website, or it might even shape how you run your business. This is pretty interesting, this tool called Voomly. They allow you to collect email addresses mid-video. So if, for example, if we were using this, I would say, wow, you guys, I've only given you like 6 tools. If you want to see the rest of them, enter your email address, and it would stop the video. And then you would have to put your email address in or something for it to continue. So if you're offering a lot of really valuable video content, you can really turn into an effective lead funnel generator by just using this video player on your website instead of like YouTube or whatever baked in one that's already part of your CMS. They do have a free plan, which I'm sure has their branding all over it, or it starts at $9 a month to review ads. And I do know that probably a lot of you are familiar with like, get this video and submit your email address first. However, when you're doing that, you're kind of asking someone to pay before they've experienced the awesomeness of what you're offering them. And so what Boomly allows you to do is give them a taste of it and get them excited. And they're already like, oh, this is great. They're already camped out. The video is going. And then it stops. And they're like, wait, what? I would imagine they're more likely to give you their email address. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Let's get back to your loafing website. Maybe it should be helping you with some secretary tasks. It should make people feel welcome. It could direct calls and distribute messages. Your contact form could have a drop down of like, what department should I send this to? Or, what's the nature of your inquiry, which could flag it to you as urgent versus maybe someone who's just a looky-loo. It could help organize your company calendar, schedule meetings, answer basic questions. It could send follow-ups. So when people reach out to you, there could be an autoresponder email that goes back to them that makes them feel like they're already heard before anybody has actually answered them. I know you're all familiar with Calendly. What you might not know is that it can book a meeting and collect fees at the same time. So if you are a business coach or like someone who's a service provider and you offer ad hoc, the ability for people to just like book you ad hoc, this is pretty powerful. You don't have to like invoice or anything like that. Maybe you already have a client relationship with them and they're like, great, okay, why don't you book your session with us sometime in July? And they'll just do it and pay you right away. Another thing that your website could be doing to help you be a warm secretary sort of feel would be a chatbot with personality. I'm sure you're familiar with chatbots, but it's kind of cool to try a little bit harder to give it a face, maybe your face. This is actually the owner of Belegenza. And he says, hey there, I'm Alan. I got here as quick as I could. How can I help you? I mean, that just sounds more, it's endearing, right? Like I got here as soon as I could. Like you're a chatbot, you're always
Right.
here. But it's disarming because it's conversational. This is another tool called Video Ask. They offer interactive videos with conditional logic. What does that mean? That means it's kind of like AI, but you're setting up the decision tree. So for example, this one company is using it to collect video testimonials from customers, which is kind of a tricky thing to do. It will even walk them through how to hold their camera and like have lighting and speak slowly and with expression and look into the video, stuff like that to coach them through how to give a nice video testimonial. Other things that people are using it for are like developing custom estimates or quotes. So a person, the owner of the company or whoever it is saying, hey, I'm so glad that you are interested in working with our company. I'd like to ask what kind of estimate you're interested in today. Are you looking for an ongoing relationship, a project, or just a one-off? And then maybe these buttons will appear and they'll click it and they'll be like, great, we love doing one-off engagements. How many of you are there? Is it one person or are you a team of people? And then you click something and then it goes to the next one. Pretty wild stuff. So those are just two examples of what you can do with Video Ask. If you are a high ticket item, a more luxury item, or if you're providing a really bespoke service where people need to trust you and have like a vibe with you, I think this could be really powerful. All right, so your lazy website could be helping you with some account coordination tasks. For example, client onboarding. How about managing client expectations so that you deliver what they're expecting, which means happy client? How about some intake forms or even booking paid appointments? So I really like it when websites that are like wellness and health related have like a newcomer section. I think a great example of this is the centeredplace.com. If you go to the newcomer section, they have an introduction in your first class. Anybody who's done yoga knows that if you're new, it's kind of weird, right? You don't know what to wear. There's like mats. Sometimes it's hot. Like, are they going to make me say Om? Like it's just a nerve-wracking sport or activity. I don't even think it's a sport to like start. And I think that they did a really good job of anticipating the needs of their customer, their new customer. What if you guys, if it's odd for people to start working with you or to try what you offer, this might be a great thing to offer. And
Alicia, is this similar to an FAQ? Would you say it's similar or not at all? Or just one's like
it could be an
could have both?
FAQ, but this one sort of walks you through it almost in like a storytelling way. It's like what to do before you come, what to expect, like
right.
Should you eat? First, your teacher's going to do this and then that. And like, here's some ideas of what you might pack. It could be FAQ, but if someone is completely new to something, they don't have any questions because they don't know anything yet. Right.
They don't even know which questions they have.
Right. They're just like nervous in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can actually show this. I feel like it might ruin the presentation. But if you have the patience to write this long URL, I would love for you to check out this example. This tool is called Prezi. And so you can see here, there's like this thing, and then there's this rectangle, and there's these like pages that are climbing up the mountain. And what Prezi does is it allows the view of the presentation to zoom into the thing, and then it zooms out and goes to the next thing, almost like you're climbing the mountain. And they have all these templates that you can use. You could be on the earth, you could go underwater. It's pretty cool, and it allows you to have like a really dynamic way of going through your information as a presentation. And I think it's a lot more interesting than just flipping through a slide deck like what I'm doing right now. If you wanted to record something like this with a voice over audio, it could be a fantastic way of onboarding a client or showing them what to expect or training them on something. Oh, and then you can, Prezi gives you like an embed code that your web developer can then use to place on your website so that the video plays or they can navigate through it on your website. Lastly, how about some product training? How about some product demos, how-to videos, a downloadable guide, case studies, instruction manuals? These are things that are not very high tech, but if you have a product that's complicated to use, or even a service that's going to require a lot of interaction from your customer, these things can be very reassuring. It can give them a taste of what to expect before they complete a purchase with you. Some tools to help with this are, if you don't necessarily want to, slog through Zoom and figure out how to do what we're doing, you could just use QuickTime Player, which is a free tool to download for either Mac or PC. And you can just, like I'm showing here, you fire it up, and then under File, you click New Screen Recording, and it gives you the option whether or not you want audio. and it just saves a file to your desktop. Voila, you've done a screen share video. This is helpful for, like maybe it's like a presentation, like I was saying earlier, or maybe you're demoing your app, or how to do something with your digital tool that you're selling. You could also get an explainer video. This example is videoexplainers.com. These can range between $1,500 to $8,500 depending on the complexity, look and feel. And actually $1,500 is a pretty, it's not a lot of money for a video. Usually if someone's going to be creating something for you, you're looking at maybe 3,000 and up for like a 1-minute video. But this one leverages animated tools so that you can get one that's a little bit more affordable. So I know it's a lot, but
Alyssa,
to get a heads up.
let me ask you one
Oh.
last thing. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't realize we're done. So this question, and that I was just holding off on a bit. Is it an ongoing process with your site, or is it more like something you create once and that's good enough, or do you feel like it's good and important to constantly revisit it and potentially update any of these sections, if not all?
That's a great question. I do think that sometimes with websites, we are like scared to go live until we think it's perfect. And I am here to tell you the enemy of done is perfect. It is much better to have a web presence up sooner rather than later, provided it's not like errors and provided it's like authentically representing you. But I'm a big advocate of having a simple presence up and then growing it over time. That being said, your simple presence could be a 5-page website. It could be a 20-page website. If you have an e-commerce site, then you probably want your whole catalog in there. But a lot of these features are like extras and things that are making your job easier as an entrepreneur. So I think it totally makes sense to iterate and to add to your website over time.
Okay, it is totally fair. I'd have to discuss this after.
For sure. And I think it's good to also have in mind that the average website, if it's 5 years old and it hasn't been completely redone, it's probably pushing the edge of its modernity. It probably needs a refresh. Technology is advancing at that rate. Our design tastes are advancing at that rate. And to be honest, your business is probably growing. Ideally, you're refreshing it every like 2 years. But if it's been 5 years, it might be time to just do an audit and make sure that it's still servicing you as best it could. What you really don't want is for someone to go to your website and for it to look dated, right?
Right.
You want to seem like you're on top of it and you believe in your company and you're investing in it. So.
Love it.
Me interject real quick as well. For a lot of this stuff, and I've done this stuff on my own, and I've also paid people to do it for different companies and different things I was doing. It can be overwhelming, right? And you can see how much information. That was amazing, by the way. I mean, I was taking screenshots and taking notes, and I'm definitely going to be applying this stuff soon or in the future. But what do you, at what point, how much of this is doable on your own on a low budget, or to do a lot of stuff? Do a lot of these things entail extra money? And then at what point for your business should you go out and, hire somebody to do it, or to do these things for you and set it up the way you want? And what do those kind of costs look like too?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think some of them are things that you could do on your own, like a lot of them that are content driven, like anticipating the needs of your target audience and then adjusting the text and the content on your site. If you are managing your own website, that's stuff that you can do fairly easily. Some of these you absolutely want to be working with somebody. For example, Printful, if you're going to integrate that into your website, you should be working with a developer. But if you're okay with someone completing a purchase on the Printful site, then it's probably something that you can set up yourself. There's YouTube videos and stuff like that. And this talk is specifically designed for entrepreneurs who, as we all know, wear so many hats. And when you're starting out, you have to, you're the one that's doing your own IT. You're the one that's handling all this stuff. So I tried to pick things that if you have the stomach for it, you can give it a go to do it on your own. However, if you are a business owner that was not very involved in the building of your website, and you worked with a developer from the beginning, you're going to want to work with them to add these tools and, integrate stuff and stuff like that. But they're probably not going to proactively come to you So if you're here today and you're learning about this stuff, as a business owner, you can make a, an educated assessment like, ooh, I didn't even know that existed. I want that. And then you can reach out to your developer and tell them you want it, or research it a little bit on your own, and come to he or she with the content and the desires. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. And I also want to add, if anybody has any questions, they should be able to go in the chat and
I don't know if
post
it
a
works, so
question
they
there.
might have to unmute themselves.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to unmute
Or they
them,
can
I
type
think.
it in chat.
Yeah, try typing in the chat if anyone has any question, or someone can even just
I
try
can.
typing in the chat and see. I can tell you if I'm seeing it. But yeah, that was great, Alicia.
Yay.
Yeah, honestly, great. I'm probably going to be watching this recording again as well.
We are, as everyone knows, we
Well,
are recording this and we're going to post it to YouTube, and we'll
Yeah.
post it to probably LinkedIn and Facebook, or if you're following any of us,
all the things.
or email us and we can send you a copy. It may take us a week or two before we, kind of edit it up, but you can go back and rewatch this and take notes if you need to.
Yeah, because like good entrepreneurs, we are not video editors. We're figuring it out. So if you want to get a heads up about future webinars like this one, we're taking turns talking about any range of topics that we think are really going to be impactful for entrepreneurs. You can sign up for the ANC newsletter with this QR code, and I'll be inviting you to the next one. Or you can follow me on Instagram at either Alicia Nagel Creative or Hustle with Aloha, which is my side project where I share tips and tools and tricks, mostly all around marketing, but I also share our Entrepreneur Edge videos on there. And then lastly, these are your hosts and I am your speaker. Charles's URL is a little bit long, so he gets a QR code, but Shlomo and I are pretty straightforward. So yeah, please check us out, and we hope to see you at one of these next ones.
Yes, thank you all for joining. And yeah, absolutely. I think you guys should hopefully check out any of our previous ones, and we hope to see you at all future ones.
All right. Have a great rest of the day.
Have a good day, guys.
Ready for coming.
Bye.